Hello and welcome to our 2021 State of the City and Annual Meeting. My name is Christina Hudson and I am CEO of OneRedmond, and I will be your host for today's program. We're all excited to see you here today. I want to make sure you're turning on your cameras and keep them on so we can see you in our virtual audience. Well, this last year has shown us that collaboration and partnership are the keys to our resiliency. OneRedmond communicates and collaborates with a vast network of city, local, and federal governments, chambers of commerce, and multicultural organizations to align resources and maximize opportunities for our community. Through these partnerships, we were able to amplify our programming and expand our services to our small business community. And last year, we worked with over 5,000 small businesses delivering programs and our one-on-one business advising services. OneRedmond also helped guide over 3,700 companies to local and federal financial resources. 3 months ago, we were awarded a federal grant to create One Eastside Spark to expand our resiliency programming to the 23 cities and towns across East King County. Working together, we created trusted pathways to greatly needed resources for our economic recovery and resiliency. Now, as we begin our program, I would like to thank all our sponsors for their support in helping make this production possible. Our presenting sponsors, Overlake Medical Center and Clinics, Puget Sound Energy. I would like to thank our supporting sponsors, Business Health Trust and Davis Wright Tremaine. And I'd also like to thank all our contributing sponsors. I would also like to thank all of our members who invest in OneRedmond, in particular our founder level investors, Microsoft, Nelson Legacy Group, City of Redmond, and Amazon. At OneRedmond, we are a chamber, an economic development organization, and a community foundation. And I want to recognize the OneRedmond Board of Directors for their vision and support of our community as they provide leadership and direction to the organization. It's great to see you guys there. Thank you. And I would like to recognize and give big thanks to the OneRedmond Foundation Board of Directors as well. All right, give a wave, everyone. Hi. As our nonprofit arm, we created the Eastside Small Business Recovery Fund. This fund supports small businesses and nonprofits in their recovery and resiliency. And a big thank you to Amazon for your recent and generous contribution to help provide small businesses and nonprofits throughout East King County with additional PPE as we reopen our economy. And speaking of Amazon, we have some pretty big news that was just announced today. Amazon announced 2 new investments for AWS and Project Kuiper in Redmond, with plans to create more than 800 new corporate and technology jobs in Redmond. These new jobs will include roles in software development, user experience design, and technical program management. So this is fantastic news. Thank you, Amazon. All right. I would like to acknowledge our elected officials today. We have Redmond City Council members Vanessa Kritzer and David Carson. Hi there. Thank you for being here today, as well as thank you to the entire council for your support. Also in our virtual audience, we have King County Council member Kathy Lambert, Port of Seattle Commissioners Sam Cho and Peter Steinbrook. We have Washington State Representative Larry Springer and representatives from the Office of Representative Susan Delbene. So let's get going on with our program. Next, I would like to introduce Mary Nelson Morrow, Board Chairman and President of OneRedmond and the owner and Managing Director of Nelson Legacy Group. As residents and small business owners in the city of Redmond, they have been a foundation for our small business community. In addition to her work with Nelson, Mary serves as the partner and chairman of award-winning North Coast Moving and Storage. And community has also been a passion for Mary. She has served a variety of charities across the country that focus on women's education, K through 12 education, along with Alzheimer's and cancer research. And now I will turn it over to Mary Morrow, Director and Owner, Nelson Legacy Group, and Board Chairman and President of OneRedmond's Board of Directors. Mary?
Thank you, Christina. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for taking the time to join us for our annual State of the City Summit. Today, I am delighted to introduce our next speaker, Mayor Angela Birney. Since taking office in 2020, Mayor Birney has successfully led the city of Redmond through some unprecedented times, such as the incredible heat wave of this past weekend, the COVID-19 pandemic, and even major snowstorms just days after she took office. Through her leadership and partnership with Redmond City Council, she secured and leveraged over $1.8 million in CARES Act funds to be distributed to Redmond small businesses and nonprofits, more than any locality on the Eastside, as well as rolled out innovative new policies, including the creation of streeteries and additional signage opportunities for small business promotion. In addition to adapting to challenges our city has faced, Mayor Birney is also looking ahead into the future and planning how to ensure Redmond continues to maintain its high quality of life for all. I know we all look forward to learning more about her thoughts on the state of the city and its future this morning. So with that, let's all give a virtual round of applause and welcome to our next speaker, Mayor Angela Birney.
Well, thank you, Mary. I really appreciate that introduction. And thank you, Christina, for sharing all the news about Amazon as well. So good morning. Thank you for virtually joining me this morning for our State of the City. Honestly, the state of the city is hot. However, I hope you're finding ways to stay cool and safe over these last record-setting heat wave days. And we look forward to things returning to normal today and tomorrow, and the rest of the summer, hopefully. As we emerge from 2020 and the first half of 21, I'd like to share some thoughts about where we've been, where we are now, and where I see us going in 22 and beyond. When I became mayor of Redmond in January 2020, my vision included an emphasis on a connected community that enhances livability and sustains the environment. While COVID may have changed the way that we work for the past 16 months or so, my vision remains the same. In addition to the vision, our community's strategic plan provides guidance for the city's work and a roadmap for implementation of the city's strategic initiatives. City Council is currently updating these strategies, timelines for action, and measurements of success that make up the overarching themes of the plan. Before we look toward the future this morning, I'd like to take some time to reflect and offer my gratitude to all the Redmond staff that continue to keep the city running, and specifically the members of our Redmond Fire Department. Our Redmond fire team has been on the front line of COVID-19 since day one, when they responded to the first COVID case at Life Care Center in Kirkland in February of 2020. Redmond fire staff have continued to serve and protect our community throughout the pandemic, including providing mobile vaccinations at 129 locations on the Greater Eastside. Our staff administered 3,600 vaccines in our community and counting, including adult family homes, senior living facilities, homebound residents, people experiencing homelessness, and even 13 pop-up events. We've also been actively participating in the King County Vaccination Partnership with Microsoft, Evergreen Health, Overlake Medical Center, and Public Health, and we hosted a public vaccination site at the Microsoft campus. As of last week, the King County COVID-19 data dashboard reports that 93% of Redmond residents in the 98052 zip code, age 12 and older, have initiated their vaccines. I would like to thank our community for doing our part in raising the county, state, and national vaccination rates. Well done, Redmond. As you may recall, we closed city facilities to the public in March of 2020 due to the pandemic. The city continued to provide essential services like police, fire, water, sewer, transportation, park maintenance, and development inspections during this extended closure, while a portion of employees telecommuted. Although we did get a little head start since Sunday by opening City Hall as a cooling center for the community, we are now preparing for the real reopening of facilities this Thursday, July 1st. In preparation to welcome customers and staff back, we have created a stay safe reopening plan to guide our efforts. This 5-stage plan provides a general framework and guidelines for all city services and departments in accordance with guidance provided by the state of Washington. All of us spent so much of 2020 and early 21 isolating, adapting, surviving, and perhaps picking up a new hobby or two. However, our staff and I are planning opportunities to see you in person again. Starting Thursday, City Hall and the Redmond Community Center at Marymore Village will be open from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday through Friday. City Council meetings will be in person and online, while boards and commission meetings will continue virtually for the time being. All parks and trails are open dawn to dusk, with picnic shelters available for rentals. The splash pads at downtown and Grasslawn parks are open, and the Farrell McWhirter Barnyard is open daily from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. On Mondays and Wednesdays, we continue to offer senior curbside lunches, senior virtual programs, and Meals on Wheels. We look forward to the Redmond pool reopening in mid-July, and later this year, the Bites Cafe for senior programming and the Old Firehouse Teen Center for all of their programming. I'd like to share about what the future holds by diving into the 3 priorities for my vision, starting with a connected community. One of the many reasons I love living in Redmond is that I see the connections people have with our city and each other. We've been sharing those stories through our weekly emails and my monthly video series. You'll see this new direction in the Focus newsletter, which was mailed to homes and businesses last week. Another way we are investing in those connections is through the city's new Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion program. Cecilia Martinez Vasquez has joined the city and is establishing our path forward by creating a Redmond in which all residents can fully and effectively access city services, influence city policy and direction, and feel a sense of belonging and safety. Infusing DEI into the fabric of the organization, providing programs, strategies, and activities to increase our ability to provide excellent service, providing forums and activities for a diverse community to learn and interact with each other, and strengthening the city's relationships with these diverse communities. We can once again offer those in-person connections with fun summertime activities. Yay! Our summer day camps are operating all summer for ages 3 and up. Our Parks Department is activating downtown Redmond with unique experiences, including externally produced events, recreation activities, and a public art installation, and a new busker program that will activate downtown park with live music. Outdoor fitness classes, adult sport leagues, and recreation activities are also available. You can explore what's coming up this summer on our calendar at experienceredmond.com, which is supported by our tourism and buy local programs. If you haven't heard, the city, in partnership with our community, is in the process of designing and building a new senior and community center on the site of the old senior center and will be part of the future story of Redmond. The city engaged the community through 4 targeted outreach campaigns over the past 2 years and heard from a variety of stakeholders and community members who collectively affirmed the need for a new facility. That offers dedicated senior center space, it offers expanded community center amenities, and it reaches across all ages and cultures and is welcoming and universally accessible to serve all community members. The final design concepts and cost estimates will be brought forward to City Council on July 20th. The facility is estimated to open at the end of 2023. Light rail. The Redmond team is working closely with Sound Transit as they bring light rail to Redmond. 2 stations in Overlake will open in 2023, and the final 2 stations in Southeast Redmond and downtown will open in 2024. Parking will be available at both the Redmond Technology Station in Overlake and Southeast Redmond Station in Marymore Village. Light rail will improve traffic, provide new environmentally friendly transportation options, and create fast, friendly connections between Redmond and the region. The story of Redmond is a leader locally, regionally, and nationally. We are using our resources to make Redmond the gold standard for all other cities. And I'm not competitive at all, by the way. I want to share a few of the ways that we are working toward that goal. Over the past 1.5 years, many community members had contacted me with interest in different ways of policing and providing community services. I'm very proud that Redmond has been at the forefront of these types of programs for some time. A few of our efforts include the city's mental health professional who is a full-time employee of our police department and is deployed alongside patrol officers to resolve crisis calls for service. Our homelessness response program and full-time homelessness coordinator helps unhoused and housing insecure community members on a path toward stability. The Redmond Community Court, which is an alternative problem-solving court, helps people be more productive members of our community. And our mobile integrated health program provides resources for residents who might need help accessing services beyond 911. An unexpected surprise in Redmond's pandemic story is that after a few weeks of uncertainty, economic development has been strong. Companies in tech and space industries continue choosing Redmond for our proximity to other similar companies, our amenities, and available talent. Amazon is diversifying and expanding in Redmond. Facebook has their Oculus division in our Willows corridor. And Explore, an early-stage commercial space company, recently located their headquarters in Redmond, adding to our space industry. And those are just 3 of the many businesses choosing to make Redmond part of their stories. Development overall continues at a rapid pace. This year, new land use projects for mixed use and commercial development are on pace to exceed each of the previous 2 years. In the last 18 months, private developers have invested more than $14 million in public infrastructure within the city limits. These investments include improvements in wastewater systems, stormwater facilities, roadways, and non-motorized improvements. We have worked with OneRedmond to pilot a variety of programs to support businesses over the past 1.5 years and will continue to do so. These include the CARES Act funding grants, 352 grants to 336 recipients, totaling over $1.8 million. Our Streetery program for restaurants, which allowed restaurants to continue to serve customers during the shutdown. Our Geek Out Gold promotion, targeted to help our hospitality industry and small businesses. We partnered with OneRedmond and have been able to keep most of our businesses through this time and have even helped new businesses open. We don't want to waste any of our learnings from this challenging time, so we continue to improve and refine. Earlier this month, members of the city's Development Services Center embarked on a process improvement by kicking off an all-day staff summit. Staff from planning, public works, and fire, who support development review and permitting, came together to identify barriers and begin building on new process improvements towards delivering services in a more predictable, consistent, and efficient way. Included in this improvement is improving oversight and accountability, improving customer service, and identifying doing the right thing and making the right thing to do the easy thing to do. What will Redmond be in 2050? Over the past year, many of you have been helping us decide our future storyline. The next update of the Redmond Comprehensive Plan is underway, which we call Redmond 2050. Redmond 2050 builds on the progress our city has made and will guide the vision of our city going forward. This summer, conversations include where future growth should go in jobs and homes and housing, economic and transportation policy updates. You can learn more online at Redmond 2050 and be part of Redmond's future. If I close my eyes and think about Redmond, I see a place where the beauty of the Pacific Northwest integrates with a thriving community. The whole vision of Redmond, a connected, livable community, relies on all of us taking care of our environment. We envision a Redmond that creates a healthy, sustainable environment for all generations and conserves our natural resources, affords a high quality of life, and draws from scientific evidence-based data. We have been working to establish foundational programming for the Environmental Sustainability Program, develop and implement sustainable municipal operations as Redmond works towards carbon neutrality in 2030, implementing additional priority projects that support the city's Environmental Sustainability Action Plan, and we created a 14-member committee to vet projects and advise staff on implementation efforts. Redmond is changing our recycling program story. In the past, only 4% of Redmond households utilized the city's recycling events, and over 50% of the material collected at the events was not recyclable and went to a landfill. Nearly all of the recyclable material formerly accepted at city-sponsored recycling events is readily recyclable at other nearby locations. For those items that are not taken locally, such as styrofoam and shredding paper, the city is pursuing standalone collection options. We will continue on our path to be a regional leader by focusing on providing education and outreach on waste reduction and recycling opportunities that will move the city towards our environmental sustainability goals and King County's goal of 70% diversion of waste. Our story over the past year plus had some plot twists and turns that we would rather not repeat, but it has also included learnings that we look forward to continuing. We have used new technologies and formats to host meetings, open houses, and community forums digitally that increased attendance and participation. Stories of community members helping each other, seniors who taught each other how to use Zoom, teenagers in innovating new products, partnerships forged where there might not have been any connection before, and businesses creatively providing services for our community were commonplace over the last year and a half. Redmond's commitment to working regionally continues as we partnered with other cities, nonprofits, and businesses. We worked with our county partners, legislators at the state level, and even lobbied through our federal delegation to get our communities the assistance they needed to get through and be stronger coming out the other side. As we work toward our future, we are more focused and more innovative than ever before. A connected community with enhanced livability is in a sustainable environment will create Redmond of the future. I'm looking forward to building on our lessons learned and the innovation that has carried us through the past 16 months. I'm looking forward to the new opportunities, new appreciations, and new partnerships that we will see before us. Our future is bright. I wish you continued good health and happiness as we move forward together. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Birney. We really appreciate all that you've done for our city, and One Redmond is very proud to be right along your side as we come in through our economic recovery. So now we're going to go ahead and start the Q&A portion of our program. Let's begin with a question from one of our participants here. What did the city of Redmond learn or do during the pandemic that could be carried over into the future?
That's a great question. So I have always been excited about during the pandemic, it's always great to look toward the things that we really did well and continue those on. So one of the things I'm very proud of, we worked with our community partners, OneRedmond, our planning staff, our public works staff, probably all our staff, to make streeteries happen for businesses. When the lockdown happened, many businesses were limited in what they could do in serving food to people. And we figured out a way to open up more of our streets for these streeteries. And hopefully you've been out and about in Redmond and you can see that they're well used, well loved. Businesses even found ways to keep them open during the winter months when things aren't so great here. Maybe we're looking a little for that right now. I think many of us would take the cold over this excessive heat. But we're looking toward ways to continue those on into the future. Right now, the streeteries will be good through the end of the year. And then staff is looking at ways to continue that on post-pandemic, just to add opportunities for businesses to expand to the outdoors when it's lovely, like it will be the rest of this week. And even in the winter time, it turns out people aren't as, we're a little hardy stock, I think, in the Pacific Northwest, and we're still able to enjoy ourselves outside in the winter. So it'll be really exciting to see how those continue on post-pandemic.
All right, thank you. And our next question, we go to Angie Hinojos from Centro Cultural Mexicano.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Angie Hinojos, and I'm the Executive Director of Centro Cultural Mexicano and Chair of the Redmond Arts and Culture Commission. At Centro Cultural Mexicano, it's our mission to empower our beloved communities and small businesses by offering barrier-free direct services and programs. We value our partnership with the City of Redmond, and we are a recipient of the Redmond Small Business Resiliency Grant, which has helped us continue to advocate for and serve our community throughout the pandemic. Mayor Birney, nationally, BIPOC and immigrant small business owners have had a hard time accessing relief programs. What will the City of Redmond do to assist small business owners from communities of color with equitable access to assistance and resources? Thank you.
Well, thank you, Angie, for that great question. So One, I would like to say thank you for you and your organization, as well as Lolita's here with IAWW, for the work that they have done among other organizations as well to continue those connections within our community and actually strengthen them. So one of my observations in the beginning of the pandemic, when it became quite apparent that we were going to be in it for a long time, was an awareness that many of our minority businesses weren't connected to our systems, our government systems, in the ways that many others are. And so that knowledge, we reached out, and you reached out to us, and we all worked together to find ways to actually create those connections, create that trusted partner, and find ways to put money and resources in the places that were needed the most, where they normally wouldn't have gone. What I found interesting with the city of Redmond and working with OneRedmond and organizations throughout the city and the region is that there was a lot of talk about reaching BIPOC communities, but we actually did it. We actually intentionally went out and found people that we could work with to really help those businesses. One of the things I pride myself on in Redmond is we have this growing diversity, which is fantastic and wonderful. And how do we help people navigate our systems has been a challenge. So this was one of the best things that I think we did as a city, OneRedmond, all of the organizations, is we walked the talk. We didn't just say we want there to be outreach. We went out and found ways to do that. And it's through all of the partnerships that we have that we were able to do that. I see that as being the model for the future as well. I think we can't go back to, well, people will figure it out on their own. We can't go back to that way of thinking. We have to continue that intention of reaching out to our community members, reaching out to our organizations, reaching out to people who are really struggling, and find ways to assist them and work with them at their place, at their level, find interpreters, find trusted partners, find ways to continue that process. And with that, then we will strengthen all of our businesses in our community, and we won't have, hopefully, some of the challenges in the next possible downturn. Please make it far, far away from now than we have right now. But I think that those relationships is the connection and the stronghold that we have in our community. And I think other cities can look to us as an example of what should be being done to help all of our community members.
All right, our next question is from Lalita Upala, Executive Director of the India Association of Western Washington. Lalita?
Good morning, Mayor Birney and everyone here. I'm Lalita Upala, Executive Director of India Association of Washington and co-chair of the King County Immigrant and Refugee Commission. Mayor Birney, as you know, IAWW serves all demographics of the Asian Indian community in providing basic, urgent, emergent support services. And we are very thankful to the city of Redmond for supporting communities, especially during COVID, with the emergency rent assistance funding that you had provided, and for being always open and available to listen and to learn. My question for you is, Redmond has seen so many significant changes over the years as a city with tremendous growth, continued growth potential, and with the changing demographics in who lives in Redmond, works in Redmond, retires in Redmond, goes to school, and runs small businesses in Redmond. How is the city of Redmond addressing this change in its demographics?
Well, thank you for that question. It really dovetails nicely with Angie's question as well. I love living in this city where people from all over the world find a home here, whether in jobs or find a home here, choose to make Redmond part of their lives. And with that, we have to think differently about how we govern, how we interact, how we bring people in to our community, how we make them part of our fabric of Redmond. And so a few different ways we're working on that. We did hire Cecilia as our diversity, equity, inclusion manager. We had been doing some work in the community and internally in the city, but it was really important to bring on a paid person that is their focus. And that is her job is to not just work on internal things, but also to reach out to our community members and find ways for us to do our job better and really serve our whole community. Not just those who already know how our systems work. So that's one way that we're working on that. Another thing is we're taking a different look. I mentioned earlier our Redmond 2050 project. One of the areas that we're looking at as one of the themes is equity and inclusion in the work of planning out our city toward 2050. In the past, I think we have looked at comprehensive plans as a particular kind of document. But I think with our staff that we have now in our community, we have asked for a different path forward. How do we look at our city? How do we really bring in different voices and different thoughts and really understand the breadth and depth of the diversity that lives in Redmond and will continue to live in Redmond? And what does that mean for planning for the future of Redmond? So integrating that theme into that kind of work is what we're attempting to do citywide in all of our processes. So it's not just an afterthought, but it's really integrated in the work of the city. Another fun project that I will say, I mentioned our senior center that we are looking to break ground on next year and opening up in 2023. But we have been very intentional about how we design such a building and what kind of spaces are needed and who can participate in what goes on there. And in the design, in the construction, in the programming of buildings like that, we look at what is needed to really serve our whole community as well. If you've come from somewhere else, I'm Washington born and raised. My perspective on the world is very different from someone that moved across the world to come here and work for Microsoft or one of our other companies, or joined a family member who was already here. And so how do we make those spaces welcoming? How do we make the programming really suited for who's going to come and share in our space? So all of those ways of thinking are really where I think our city is going and needs to go to really fully serve our entire community and make sure people feel welcome and warm and want to continue to come here and share in our spaces and use our parks and be part of our programming and participate in government. And that's really what makes our whole community better. So I'm really looking forward to so many of those things. And I do want to say to both of you and the other organizations that have participated, I thank you for your dedication in making sure that the city knows who is out there, who needs help, who, you mentioned rental assistance, Lolita, who really needs to get that rental assistance to help them stay in our community. We live in a very expensive place. The pandemic did not assist that whatsoever, but it's with partners like you that we're really able to continue to serve everyone throughout our community and not the most fortunate amongst us. So thank you both for all of that you have done over the last 16 months. I can't even imagine how tired you must be because I know I'm tired, but you two have just done amazing work.
I concur. Lalita and Angie and those other community business organizations, really, you all have been critical in our outreach to our underserved business owners, and you really have strengthened our economic recovery. So thank you all. Now on to our final question to Mayor Birney. This one comes again from one of our participants here. Says, what are some of the unique ways that the city of Redmond supported businesses during the recent phases of the pandemic?
Thank you, Christina. So I mentioned the streeteries before, but we also use some of our CARES Act funding to help streeteries purchase heaters and covers and help the Public Works Department help set up safety around some of the streeteries to make sure that as you're sitting outside in a road, you have that safety factor there. So we reached out in that way. But one of the the coolest thing we did, I think, was the Geek Out Gold promotion, which initially, I would say the headline didn't read as clearly as it should have. But we worked with Experience Redmond, and we took some of our funding through our Lodging Tax Advisory Committee that we had sitting idle, and we used that to promote tourism throughout our hospitality industry. So you could reserve and stay in a hotel for 1 or 2 nights, and you would get gold certificates that you could spend in local area businesses and make your money go farther. We invested $50,000 in the program through our LTAC funds, and it has already generated over $260,000 for local businesses, over 1,400 night stays, and multiple inquiries of developers have heard about the program from the city. Media's been all over the country. It's just been a really phenomenal way to kickstart I like to hope post-pandemic times where we really want people to get out, stay in our beautiful hotels, eat in our restaurants, shop in our stores, really be a part of and experience the tourism, experience what Redmond can be and what Redmond is. And that's just been an amazing promotion. And it says more than $75,000 alone went to businesses in our downtown. That the ability to take $50,000 from city LTAC funds and move that through our system and create that opportunity is really phenomenal. And it was the right time. It's the right place. People were clamoring to get out of their houses, as we mentioned, and experience something else. I am just so grateful for all of the partners that worked together to make that happen. It was an idea, but it took all of us, our staff, OneRedmond, Experience Redmond, I don't even know who else, all of our hoteliers, our small businesses to really work together to make something like that so successful. And I see that as just an opportunity looking toward innovation on how we continue to do things a little differently, a little better, to make sure that our businesses are supported and that people know about Redmond and they want to come visit us. We're a wonderful place. So I'm so excited about the project. It's just been phenomenal. And I just want to say in closing is that I want to thank all of our businesses throughout our region who have continued to hang on, to work with OneRedmond, to work with the city, to work with community partners, to continue through, to be able to use the CARES Act funding, to stay in business, to continue to make Redmond a wonderful place to live and work and be. And we couldn't have done it without all of you. We are so proud of all of the businesses that have made it through and will continue to. And we're excited that we have new businesses opening in Redmond. And I just think we're just a fantastic place. And I'm so proud of all of us. So thank you all for making all of this happen.
Well, thank you, Mayor Birney. We very much appreciate your passion, your dedication, and your hard work that really has been demonstrated day in and day out. And I also want to take a moment to thank your city staff for all the work that they've done and their ongoing support of our community. We really appreciate each and every one of them. So as we close our program, I want to say thank you to all our sponsors of today's events. Our presenting sponsor, Overlake Medical Center and Clinics, Puget Sound Energy. Our supporting sponsors, Business Health Trust and Davis Wright Tremaine. And I want to give a special thank you to Tenacious Ventures for helping us with this amazing virtual production today. And thank you to all our members who invest in OneRedmond and the future of our community. And last, but certainly not least, I want to thank you, each and every one of you out there, for participating. Have a great rest of your day. Please stay safe. Please stay healthy.